Welcome to today's explainer. Get ready because we are about to unmask a literal microscopic heist. We're talking about those invisible chemical forces that are quietly, constantly eating away at the solid metal structures all around us, completely out of sight.
I know, it sounds a bit like a true crime thriller, doesn't it? Seriously, what invisible force is secretly eating away at solid metal? Because every single day, the bridges we drive on, the pipes beneath our feet, even massive skyscrapers, they are all under active attack. So let's put on our detective hats and uncover exactly how this chemical heist goes down.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for solving the mystery. First, the invisible culprit. Second, the electron theft. Third, the acid lineup. Fourth, the carbonic acid exception. And finally, the pH sweet spot. Chapter 1, the invisible culprit. Meet the hydrogen ion. So whenever we're looking at acidic environments, our prime suspect is the hydrogen ion. You'll usually see it written as H+. Now, why plus? Well, it's completely missing an electron, which gives it a positive charge and makes it highly unstable. Think of it as being incredibly hungry. It is desperately seeking to steal an electron from anywhere it can, just to reach a neutral, stable state and become harmless hydrogen gas. And it's this desperate atomic hunger that's actually the engine driving the entire corrosion process.
Let's move to Chapter 2, the electron theft. How metals fall victim.
So the crucial point is how the actual crime goes down. Let's walk through the mechanics of this microscopic theft. Step 1, as we know, our H+ ion is missing an electron and is dangerously unstable. Step 2, this is the heist. That H+ approaches a metal, let's say iron, and it literally rips loose electrons right out of the metal's physical structure, just takes them. Then, step 3 is the tragic aftermath. Stripped of its electrons, that solid iron becomes an ion itself, Fe++, and that change causes it to literally dissolve into the crumbly rust we see every day. Meanwhile, our little thief, it gets exactly what it wanted, turns into hydrogen gas, and simply floats away from the crime scene scot-free. Now, you might be wondering, why doesn't this chemical theft just happen to everything around us? Well, it turns out that nonmetals hold onto their electrons really tightly. Their atomic grip is just way too strong for the hydrogen ion to overcome. But metals like iron, have very loosely held outer electrons. They surrender them incredibly easily, which unfortunately makes them the absolute perfect, tragic targets for this heist.
Which brings us to Chapter 3, the acid lineup, culprits and accomplices.
And this brilliantly illustrates how every single acid works in this scenario. You can divide them all into a primary attacker, that's our hydrogen ion, and a secondary accomplice that helps form the final rust. For instance, in hydrochloric acid, H+ is the main thief, right? And chlorine acts as the sort of getaway driver. Sulfuric acid, though, brings double the trouble with 2 hydrogen attackers, aided by sulfate. Nitric acid uses nitrate as its accomplice. And boric acid? Wow, it brings a whopping 3 hydrogen ions to the fight. So the big takeaway here is that the hydrogen ion always pulls off the initial heist, while the accomplice swoops in later to finish the rust-making job.
Now for a fascinating twist, Chapter 4, the carbonic acid exception, the rule breaker.
This actually solves a really relatable, real-world mystery. Why doesn't your favorite carbonated soda just melt right through its metal can? I mean, it's acidic. Well, strong acids release literally all of their hydrogen ions at once to aggressively attack metal. But carbonic acid, which is what makes soda fizzy, is a total rule breaker. Even though it has 2 hydrogen ions available, it stubbornly holds on to one, releasing only a single thief into the environment. By keeping half of its thieves locked up, it acts as a surprisingly slow, very weak corrosive agent. And that's why your soda can is safe. Finally, we arrive at Chapter 5. The pH sweet spot, finding the safe house. Mapping out corrosion rates across the pH scale reveals a pretty surprising twist. Obviously, in an acidic environment, so anything below a pH of 7, corrosion is incredibly high because, well, the thieves are everywhere. But look at the neutral zone, right at pH 7. You would probably think that perfectly neutral, pure water would be the absolute safest place for iron, right? Surprisingly, no. At pH 7, we still see a medium level of corrosion. And get this, if you push too far the other way, into the strong alkaline zone above 10.5, high corrosion kicks right back in. So the true safe house? It's nestled strictly in the weak alkaline zone, somewhere between 8 and 10.5. Now, what's really interesting here is that very specific upper limit, 10.5. A weak alkaline environment right up to a pH of 10.5
acts as the ultimate safe house for iron. By pushing the chemical environment just past neutral and intentionally keeping it in this specific territory, we effectively neutralize those hungry hydrogen ions. We are completely cutting off their ability to steal electrons.
And that brings us to an incredibly practical, real-world engineering takeaway derived directly from our source material. It states, the recommended pH for maximum corrosion protection is between 8 and 10.5. You guys, this isn't just textbook theory. This is exactly how engineers actively manage city water systems, massive industrial boilers, and huge pipelines to stop the invisible heist before it even starts. By tightly controlling that exact pH level, they can save literally millions of dollars in infrastructure from simply rusting away.
So let's close the loop on our prime suspect today. The hydrogen ion really is the most powerful, simple, and direct corrosion agent out there. It doesn't rely on complex chemical trickery or anything like that. Its destructive power comes purely from its raw hunger for an electron. It turns solid iron into crumbling rust simply by reaching out and taking exactly what it wants.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to ponder. If weak alkaline environments protect metals best, how might this change the way we design the infrastructure hidden beneath our cities? I mean, the next time you walk over a massive steel bridge, or even just turn on a water tap in your home, take a second to remember the invisible electron heist happening right under your nose, and the brilliant chemical safe houses we've built to stop it. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning the complex microscopic world around you.